Hi everyone, welcome to the Responding Instead of Reacting workshop. I'm Cassandra Michael and I'm a positive psychology and mindset coach. So, in module one, we will be looking at awareness, mindfulness, and perspective. So, please have a pen and paper ready. We're going to dive into the first exercise. It's pretty simple and it's about counting thoughts. So the instructions go as follows. Keep a piece of paper near and hold your pen. You're going to tally your thoughts. Tally every time you think you're having a thought. Anything, even the subtlest and shortest of thoughts. Notice when a thought starts and ends. Basically just jot down on a piece of paper whenever thought arises. And we're going to have 2 minutes, which I'm going to be timing now. So that was 2 minutes. How many thoughts did you jot down? It's pretty crazy, right? When we stop for a moment and actually notice what's going on in our heads. How does awareness help? Only what we're aware of can we understand and ultimately change. Exercise 2 is practicing mindfulness. So, what is mindfulness really? Here's a fun video I personally like a lot.
You may have heard this word mindfulness. It's become something of a buzz phrase of late. I'm going to give you one simple, serviceable definition, which is this. Mindfulness is the ability to know what's happening in your head at any given moment without getting carried away by it. Imagine how useful this could be. Just as an example, driving down the road and somebody cuts you off in traffic. How do you normally react? I think most of us, we normally react by having a thought, which is, I'm pissed. And then what happens next? You immediately, habitually, reflexively inhabit that thought. You actually become pissed. There's no buffer between the stimulus and your reaction. With just a little bit of mindfulness, in that same situation, you might notice my chest is buzzing, my ears are turning red, I'm having a starburst of self-righteous thoughts, I'm getting angry. But you don't necessarily have to act on it and chase that person down the road, screaming at them with your kids in the back of the car thinking you've gone nuts. Now, you might be thinking, don't I need to get angry sometimes? Aren't I justified? I would say yes, but probably not as much as you think. The proposition here is not that you should be rendered by mindfulness into some lifeless, non-judgmental blob. The proposition is that you should learn how to respond wisely to things that happen to you rather than just reacting blindly. And that, my friends, is a superpower. How do you get it? The way to get it is through meditation. I believe that meditation and mindfulness are the next big public health revolution. In the 1940s, if you told somebody you were going running, they would have said, "Who's chasing you?" But then what happened next? The scientists swooped in, they showed that physical exercise is really good for you, and now all of us do it, and if we don't, we feel guilty about it. And that's where I think we're headed with mindfulness and meditation. It's going to join the pantheon of no-brainers like brushing your teeth, eating well, and taking the meds your doctor prescribed for you. Let me just close by saying, mindfulness is not going to solve all of your problems. It's not going to render your life a nonstop parade of unicorns and rainbows. Nonetheless, this is a superpower, and one that is accessible by you immediately.
So now that you've got a brief understanding of what mindfulness is, we're going to try and practice it right now during this workshop. So, who felt stressed this week? I want you to take your pen and paper or the template I provided prior and create sort of 3 sections like this. So, the one section will be the stressful moment, the second will be your automatic thoughts, and the third will be your bodily sensations. So once you've got that template sort of drawn out in front of you, these are the instructions for the exercise. So I want you to close your eyes, reflect, and pick the most stressful moment of your week. I want you to visualize it and try and truly relive that moment. Start having an inner dialogue. And once you're in that moment and you're fully living it again, I'd like you to notice and write down your thoughts. So it could be something like, nobody ever does things on time, or you're so disorganized. Especially notice that inner critic. What is that inner critic telling you? Alongside your thoughts, I would like you to notice and write down your bodily sensations. So you're reliving that moment, you're becoming stressed again. And how does that manifest in your body? Is your stomach clenching? Is your heart racing? Do you feel tension in your jaw? I'd like us to start now, and you'll have 3 minutes to do this. So close your eyes and let's start. So, time is up. This is the first step towards creating awareness and practicing mindfulness, observation. So, in your everyday life, can you take a step back and just notice, observe what is going on in your mind and how that is manifesting in your body? I really like the image of a blue sky with clouds. So you are the blue sky, and the thoughts are the clouds, and they keep passing. They're never the same, they're ever changing. Can you be that blue sky that is just resting and observing the clouds that pass? So I have a question for you. Are you your thoughts and emotions? What do you think? Well, the answer is no. Since you're observing your thoughts, you can't be them. You are the observer. To put it simply, if I'm looking at a chair, I can't in any way be the chair since I'm looking at it. So hopefully this perspective will help you not identify as much with your thoughts and emotions. So we're going to go on to exercise number 2, the second part. So we're still practicing mindfulness and we're noticing the quality of our thoughts. So going back to the thought record, I'm going to share my thought record. The stressful moment I had this week was preparing for a presentation at a large event. Some automatic thoughts I had was, I won't do well with this presentation. I'm not a good public speaker. The presentation will go badly. Last time I presented, no one was even paying attention. People don't care about what I have to say. And what I felt inside was my stomach clenching, my jaw tightening, and my heart beating faster. So, what do these thoughts have in common? My thoughts, but also your thoughts. Take a look at your thought record now and just analyze it a bit. Do you see any patterns? What are some common themes? So, common themes are these thoughts are rooted in the past and the future. Yeah, so if I go back, I say, I won't do well with this presentation. I'm making an assumption for something that's going to happen in the future. Or last time I presented, nobody was even paying attention. I'm speaking about a past event, and I'm again assuming that it's probably going to be similar. So I hope you saw these patterns in your thoughts as well, because it's very common. But you know what the funny thing is? We're worrying about something that does not exist. So the past has already taken place, and the future is unknown. Did you notice anything else? So look at your thought record again. Besides these thoughts being anchored in the past or the future, are there any other characteristics? So there's negativity and criticism. So probably for all of you, these thoughts were a bit negative and were criticized, and you were criticizing yourself or someone else. So just to recap, all these thoughts that cause us stress are about either the past, which has already taken place, or the future, which is unknown, and We are talking ourselves or others down. It's pretty crazy, right? So, how does mindfulness help overall? When we observe our thoughts and bodily sensations, it helps to create distance and not identify with them. So, when I'm really stressed, for example, at work, and I say, hey, I notice that my stomach is clenching and I'm having these racing thoughts. Immediately from the moment that I realize what's going on, I can take a step back and start observing. Once I do that, I create distance. And instead of identifying with what's going on inside of me, because as we saw before, we are not our thoughts and emotions, I can just take the seat of the observer, take a few deep breaths, and the emotions and the intensity of the emotions will pass. So that's the practical side. But then mindfulness also has other positive health benefits. For example, it lowers blood pressure, it improves your immune system, it reduces stress, and relaxes tension around pain. So these are just some of the health benefits. There's a really, really long list. So I want to go back to your thought record. And this time we're going to look at the thoughts and start turning them around. This will be exercise 3, a kinder, more realistic mind. The instructions, part 1. So take the thoughts you jotted down previously and turn them around. This time, I want you to be positive, present, and compassionate. Here's an example. I won't do well with this presentation. I'm a horrible public speaker. Last time I presented, no one was even paying attention. The presentation will go badly. So those were my initial thoughts. That caused me a lot of stress. So if I now turn those thoughts around to become more positive, present, and compassionate, how will I do that? So I can say, I have prepared well and I will do my best. Right now, there is nothing more I can do. Regardless of how well it goes, this is a great opportunity. This is a great learning opportunity. There's always room for improvement, and that's okay. So can you see the difference here? Can you see how I'm kinder to myself and how I try and focus more on the present moment? I try to avoid making assumptions about the future, and yeah, I give myself some slack. I'm also human, and yeah, we can't do everything perfect. And actually, perfect does not exist. Great, so now it's your turn. Take a look at your thought record again. Take those thoughts and turn them around. This time, be positive, present, and compassionate. I'll give you 3 minutes to complete this exercise. Great, so we're done. How did that go for you? Was it challenging in any way? Um, when you read the statements that you wrote, I want you to scan your body again and see, how does that feel? Does it feel lighter? The bodily sensations that you jotted down before, for let's say you had a negative thought and then you felt tightness in your chest. Now that you turn that thought around, how does your chest feel? So when we turn these thoughts around, it's also very important to be mindful of the effect they have. So it should be that when you say these thoughts out loud, you feel more at ease, you feel happier and calmer. This is a technique that's actually called cognitive behavioral coaching, or for others that have maybe done cognitive behavioral therapy. So it's taking these thoughts, or as in psychology, they're called thinking errors, and turning them around to be more positive and compassionate. And this process actually will rewire your brain for more positive thoughts and emotions. It will also help to lower stress, combat anxiety, and boost confidence. So now, part 2 of the exercise. Let's put things into perspective. Ask yourself, what are you really afraid of? What's the worst that can happen if your fears come true? And then continue asking yourself, and then, until you have exhausted the possibilities. So I'll give you an example. Again, I want you to take the thoughts you had from the thought record and ask yourself, what are you afraid of? What is really the underlying fear? So in my case, I'm scared that my presentation will go badly at the event. And then the audience will not like it, and I might think I'm not professional. And then I will probably not get new clients from the event. And then I might not be invited as a speaker again. And then, well, not much. There are probably other events I can participate in, and I can make improvements to my current presentation by collecting feedback from the audience. One presentation probably won't determine my career. So instead of failure, I guess it's a lesson learned. So often we tend to put a lot of value on something as if it's the end of the world. But is it really? So this exercise really helps to put things into perspective. And just ask yourself, what's the worst that can happen? So here's exercise 4. It's a bit of a different two-minute meditation. I'd like you to just sit in a comfortable position, close your eyes, and let's start.
Sit or lie comfortably, quietly. Allow yourself to be here, fully, in this moment. With your eyes closed, begin to connect with your inner world of thought and feeling. Gradually, let the horseshit of the external world fade from your awareness. If you find your mind wandering to other thoughts, don't let it concern you. Just acknowledge that all that shit is fucking bullshit. You're here now, in this place, with your inner stillness. Those bitches can't get under your skin. They can't even. Take in a deep breath. Now breathe out. Just feel the fucking nonsense float away. Take full, deep breaths. Breathe in strength. Breathe out bullshit. Allow your breathing to discover its own natural, unhurried pace. If your thoughts drift to the 3-ring shit show of your life, bring your attention back to your breathing. And with each breath, feel your body saying, "Fuck that." With passive acceptance, Just allow distracting thoughts to float by. Fuck that. With each breath you take, your thoughts become lighter, and all the soul-eating cocksuckers just fall away into nothing. Take a moment to appreciate the silence. Those assholes can't piss all over a purity like this. You are weightless, timeless, without beginning or end. Completely relaxed and free of thought. And as you slowly open your eyes, greet the world and everything in it with a new, beautiful breath of fuck that.
So I hope you liked that meditation. And also I hope you saw that during this mini workshop that there's a different way to approach things. And awareness and mindfulness doesn't necessarily mean sitting cross-legged for 45 minutes and becoming a Zen master. And what I want to say, especially for the last meditation, is don't you think we tend to put too much emphasis on certain things? Sometimes I think we're overly dramatic even, and we stress ourselves so much. And for what? Things could be worse, right? So I just want to recap some key points, the main points from this workshop. So number 1 is cultivate awareness. Notice your thoughts coming up and be the observer. So just like we did in the beginning with tallying our thoughts, try and do that on a day-to-day basis. When you're thinking, and especially when you have these long negative spirals, be aware of it. Say, okay, wow, now I'm thinking a lot. Just notice when thoughts come up. That's already a really great step into the right direction to start creating this awareness. Practice mindfulness by observing the quality of your thoughts and your bodily sensations. Try only to observe and not identify. Breathe and the strong emotions will start to subside. So next time you're really stressed, tune in, notice the thoughts that are coming up, notice how it's affecting and manifesting in your body. And by doing so, you start detaching yourself from these emotions. You can even label them. That helps as well. Saying, I'm feeling really frustrated, or I'm feeling really sad. And trust me, if you just sit in that discomfort for a little bit, these strong emotions will start to subside. So number 3 is turn your thoughts around and be positive, present, and compassionate. So when you're in step 2 and you're noticing these negative thoughts, these stressful thoughts, can you turn them around? It's great if you can write them down, and then you can start doing them mentally. Or if you like, start mentally straight away. It has been proven that this will start rewiring your brain to be more positive and resilient. And number 4, do a reality check and put things into perspective. Ask yourself, what's the worst that can happen? So you're going through something really stressful right now. I understand it. It can be tough. But yeah, what's the worst that can happen? What happens if your worst fears come true? What will the end result actually be? And will you manage? I think you probably will. And finally, fuck it. I think just let go, enjoy life, and let's not be that serious about everything that happens. We're here to have fun and enjoy. Thank you for attending this workshop. I hope you found it useful and you can use the tips in your everyday life to minimize stress. I'd like to offer you a 1-hour free coaching session where I can give you personalized tips on stress management and how to incorporate mindfulness techniques in order to live a more balanced and happier lifestyle. All you have to do is close the video and click on the button below to book your free session.